So hi, my name is Cujo, and this is The Beginner's Guide, made by Davey Redden. I'm recording this introduction the day after that I played this game, and I was actually at a quite a loss of words while I was playing it towards the end, that this game ended up being something that I went into with no expectations of, because all I knew was that one of the devs for the Stanley Parable worked on this game. This game is actually quite incredible from a narrative perspective, and the fact that somebody was able to create a narrative in this type of way is like very innovative, and it's not something that I've seen before. Even from the Stanley Parable, it feels a little bit more different. Not to spoil it too much, but I felt a lot of things towards the end of this game, so I think it would be worth your time to watch it. If you have the finances available to purchase the game, obviously I encourage you to do that before you watch this, or just stop watching it now and go pick up the game. But if you don't have the finances to go and actually afford the game yourself, then you're more than welcome to watch me play through this game. And I want to just kick it off, the entire playthrough, with just thanking Davey Redden. It's a really cool message that I think a lot of people will resonate with. At least I did. So let's begin.
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Redden. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today, I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Ooh. Okay, this is actually really interesting. I didn't know any of that about this, so I'm really curious to see what type of stuff that he's made. I got a gun.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Oh, look at that. There's like aerial sound right there too. Dude, I would totally play this too. Oh, where's the life
It kind of
forms?
looks like this game was abandoned mid-development.
I see that.
For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized.
Oh.
Begin ship evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it.
Okay.
Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Okay, thanks, man.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
For all of you, of course.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay, let's see what happens instead. Oh. Goodbye, Space Angel.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I'm ready. The past was behind her. I can move?
In this game, you
I
can
can
only walk
I can
backwards.
only move backwards. Yeah, I couldn't move forward. What? Okay. So I have to actually move through the whole level here backwards. But the future
So
could
it's a
not be
short
seen.
and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but
does
actually
the
it seems
features
to be
keep
more
changing?
focused, more complete. Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
And when she stops and looks, it becomes clear. That's such a cool, like, narrative device. Unintentionally. I mean, I guess intentionally, but if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
That's actually so creative. Oh gosh. Horror game. You are now entering.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
What?
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Nonsense in nearly every direction.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
This is terrifying.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Okay, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the game then, right? Okay, I'm gonna do it. Stand on X staring at bear. Oh. I am a gate.
A
Yes.
room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Oh. Press U to surrender. Live
Coda
on
would
a
often tell
boat.
me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Play as a pair of floating eyes emitting footstep noises. January of 2009. Ready, set, fish! This is up my alley, bro! Alright, where's the fishing rod? This don't look like fishing. Where's the fishing?
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Oh, I can't get out now. A puzzle. Oh boy. How I love the puzzles. Is there something on the side? I'm just spamming E. If I close myself in.
Don't
Look
forget
at that.
solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
You're gonna see it a lot, huh? Music's really nice here.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Okay. Oh my.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
Oh.
Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it? How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing.
Okay, we just lost him. You are now exiting.
So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
I'm curious. March 2009. The Great and Lovely Descent. Huh.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Yeah, no kidding. But I love the look of Source games though. Especially, like, I don't know, I think they've aged really well. In like a tacky sense, I guess. Like, I just like the look. It's like nostalgic. Ooh. Yeah, basically like CS Surf Pro. Look at me. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. Oh. Can you reach that? No. What is that? Okay, I just got closed in. Oh, it feels like a... Oh. Oh. What?
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Is this legit?
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
This is an interesting guy.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
Unless you're tricking me.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I'm very curious what you think. I don't even know what I think about it. It's just to like think differently. That's all I could really say. Listen. Okay. You there, did you come from
Here,
up
Coda
above?
begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. Bye. These just like different people, or did I just... Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? No, I've been right here this entire time. I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the back, in the black space in the middle. Why would I sit in the black space? Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you'll come to think so in time, eventually. What did the book say? Nothing. Too compressed to read.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Oh, it's nice.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
April 2009. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. There's no way. How do I... Nice room. Not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
This game is
But
so
it's ironic,
nice.
isn't it? that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
That's really sweet. Butt ass butt. I need to go to the freaking bathroom, bro. Recognize me, please. I'm curious to check out those other ones. There's nothing here to go back. Don't listen to that guy. It's like Dark Souls all over again, bro. A free t-shirt. Someday I will meet the person who made this. Need other side. Door, why you so? Door, how open? Open sesame. Makes game. Includes door. Cannot open door. Thanks. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. Oh man, that is a lot of notes. New room. You hear the chimes, they keep you going, don't they? You can go in here, I think. I am compelled. Stop, turn back. Proceeding further will only result in misery. Cabbage shapes our nation. Hey, don't talk about me that way. Sorry. Just talking about cabbage. I need someone to talk to. I'm sad. Is this a note? Don't listen to the other notes. I won't listen to that note. I'm not safe. You know, I don't think I am either. Today I learned you cannot fall off. Oh, look at that. Ethical. I listened to that note. Ignored the note from earlier. I saw a person walking down there. Now it won't come back. Huh. You got me all curious. Devil Tower Star. It's about how this game is pretentious and you all suck. Stop pretending you are other people. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. Cabbage shapes our nation. Cabbage again. From up here it just looks like dots. Like the wall? There is a lot of dots. Devil Tower Star. He was himself the most horrible creature he could imagine. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game. What? No, you did not, bro. More room.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does this puzzle have a solution? Oh my god, I've been here for literally an hour. What the fuck do I do? Help! Shit, how do you solve it? Developer answers, please. This doesn't make sense. The second door won't open. Help.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a
What?
space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
The whispers. What is that? Oh. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak. May through June of 2009. Porn stars died too.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Okay, I'm ready. I didn't know porn stars died. I like the colors. Ooh, I feel like I'm in a John Wick set.
See, like, This is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
The music's just glitching. What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Put a giant hole in the ground. That is not a hole. Okay, now what about along the wall of the room? I'd really like a washing machine. Okay, yeah, no washing machine. I think we should light up this room a bit. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. Close enough. And a table. You need a table. I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. Yeah. Whoa.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
I like it though.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good. Go over to the photo frame and click to turn it slightly. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off, then turn it back on. Okay. Now go to the left side sofa, move it over a little. Finally, touch the shelves. Oh, these? That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. Okay. What if I click this stuff? Return.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
I like it. It's just the lantern at the very end, the lamp post. Whoa. Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped prison. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too?
It's a conversation.
Yep, I was in
This is what
the
Coda
escape
wants, is
tutorial.
to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the
That's what-
irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
It feels like being completely still and wildly in motion at the same time. Do you feel any different? Sometimes I'm scared I'll get out and then things will be exactly the same as before. It actually does change. I don't feel like I'm the same person at all. Oh, good. That's so nice to hear. It makes me feel really happy. I'm still me, but I'm not somehow. It's hard to describe. Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No, I think I'm the first person to call back. Then can you tell me how to get out? Maybe I can come find you. What do I have to do? Oh. To get out, all you have to do is be sincere. What? That will free me? How does that work? It will make sense. Sincere about what? That's exactly what you need to figure out in order to escape.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
By himself. August
So
of
what would it look like
2009.
if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself.
There's no way.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
This is like the house from Get Out. Right? That movie? Or Us. It's a Jordan Peele movie. Oh. You spilled something. Well, my goodness. I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. Thought I might be having to clean this entire house by myself. And right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
It's been a long time since I've seen a house this messy. This line of work, you let go of those judgments pretty fast. May not be your apartment, but something in your life needs straightening up. You think you got nothing that needs cleaning, be careful, because that means it's everything. At any rate, my place is just to see a bit of peace brought here. Speaking of which, the pillows on this couch are a wreck. Would you come out and straighten them up? Oh dear, looks like someone spilled the drink over by the couch. Maybe mop that up as long as you're over there. There you go. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy. No. No, it was stupid. Sorry, never mind. Hey, these dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Last I checked, the tub needed a cleaning. How about you scrub it down as best as you can? No need to be perfect. We're all just human. You don't seem so human. Are there still books scattered on the floor of the bedroom? If so, would you put them back on the shelf? There you go. Perfect. Now then, how about you come and clear these dishes off the table?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
President Yu wants to smooth out the rug in the bedroom,
Really
believe it or
liked this
not.
game.
Trust me on
Of
this
all
one.
his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Earlier, when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was going to say that it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, and it takes care of you. Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. But there's a bit of truth in it, no? Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thanks. Got you, bro. Oh goodness, the pillows on the couch are a real mess.
I'm glad he found some peace.
Would you go over and straighten them up? I did. Question.
But
do you
of
enjoy
course,
this?
It can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive. Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it.
September of 2009. Items you love
This
at
one
members
gets a
only
bit
prices. Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they will make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful. I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? This is easy. It is so easy. It is so
About halfway through
easy.
the game, the perspective shifts.
Wow.
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you
This is
discover
the
that
key.
your teacher
How do I
is just
achieve it
as
with no
bigoted
effort?
and afraid as you are. Oh, and also
Being
you can
alone
move
must
around
be
the classroom
awful.
now.
If you're torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions to your life, you're not doing it right. Ew, I'm developing a cyst. Gross. There is no truth. There is no path. Do what is easiest, do what is simplest, feel what is true. Nothing, no one.
I fell pretty hard for this one.
Perfection.
I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
I
I think
love
about
that.
this game a lot these days.
January of 2010.
This
On
one took a lot
stage.
longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the
Ugh. Alright, the performance is beginning. Places, please. Okay. In this scene, you will be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against this wall. Good, stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her, but I have to lean on the wall. Oh. Hello. Hello? Is that it? That's not a conversation. You need to actually converse with her. Be a human being. Do it again. I'm super scared right now. No, that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Now talk to her again. Hold on, no one. Woo! Okay, leaning. Sorry. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. You're messing it all up again. Ow. You'll figure out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? Oh, I didn't catch the rest of it. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Into there? The void? Alright, bet. Going. No cap on God. See ya. Thanks for letting me perform. Ah. Into the void I go. Okay, yes. Now
The
this
game
is
ends
working.
with
This is what I
searing
like.
premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
June of 2010. Mobius Strip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. I'm not keeping my eyes closed. Help! I'm blind! I can't die like this. What's going on? Please tell me how to solve this. What was that? Oh, is it like a door?
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the
Going
way.
on? There's a solution to this? Truth. The only way to stop it is to speak something that is honest. I can't keep making these. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. It's draining
Like I
me.
said, I was getting concerned. First off,
Keep going,
he's never
keep
been
talking.
this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Ooh. Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. When I try to create, I feel empty. Oh no. What happened? Did something change? I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I need to see it to know why it stopped.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Alright, what's next? Now just press the switch here. Look at
You
that.
can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Alright, making games is effortless. Why did I feel so awful when I said that? I'm constantly excited and enthusiastic about my work. I keep saying that creation is easy. Yes, that's wonderful. Keep going.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Just never stop creating and you'll never feel bad.
This is
Perfect.
someone I
That
really
feels
cared about.
fantastic.
And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Patience, you have to trust me. I promise this will work. Please continue. Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. Yes, more. Keep going.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Hey, 2011. The Machine. I am glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. What? Look at all this press. Here, let me open that. Yes, no, the paparazzi. Stop. Nah, that's a big
And
engine.
of course, it's the machine.
You stopped. Your work was keeping us alive. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? I've been so alone. Apologize for leaving me. I've seen the thing you fear. Alright then, I will apologize to the people on your behalf. My followers, I have a troubling revelation. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us show it that we are not failures. Follow me. We will destroy everything that the machine has created. Oh. I got the gun. Oh. Coda, I'll make sure your work dies here. Isn't that what you're scared of? Having to live with that, your precious creations, having to deal with your scare with yourself.
Self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
I don't know. We'll just have to see. Oh.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
What? Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The Devil is the Devil Tower from Like one of the messages?
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Dude, this is massive.
This room actually has a maze in it.
Oh.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all.
Oh my gosh.
But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
There's no way.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Hold on. 151617. Okay. 617. This is sad, man. It is kind of interesting how we use like creation and work kind of as a means in this way.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
Thanks, man. It's
Was I a
sad.
failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
Hmm.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Dear Davy.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you to not speak to me anymore. No. It's really sad.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them to something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe. Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them?
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Would you simply let them be what they are? When I am around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I am talking about, don't say anything. Oop.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, Is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please. Start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Wow. That is cool. Epilogue. Dude, I love this game. Whoa. Woke up from a shitty dream, bro. What was that? Dude, I totally have like legit thought this narrative was real. I mean, there's no way, right?
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
You know, low-key, it kinda is.
Solution.
And if this guy is, if the narrator,
If someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
well, in the narrative, it kind of just seems like he's not making games really to convey anything to anybody, but rather to like give himself a way to cope. And I think a lot.
Now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
And I think a lot of people use art for that very reason, or making art. Dude, whoa. So I don't understand.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Dude, that looks so cool. Oh my gosh. I love that.
What now?
And validation is such a damning thing too.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, maybe.
To make up for, and so I'm.
Maybe me too, since I'm playing this. and uploading it to the internet. So I apologize also. Man, I think this is such a unique idea for a game now. And it feels like it calls a bit more to the dev than maybe other games would. And maybe it's something that he struggled with a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm not even sure what we're playing right now, because Coda didn't make this, right? Or maybe he did. Oh, okay. What's up here? Yeah, I am left without any answers right now. That looks so cool, though. It's very liminal. Don't do it. I'm about to ascend, brother. No. Let's see what happens this time. I ascend. Let's go. Basically reading House of Leaves. Ooh.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're strong, so turn back, turn back.
That's so good. That's such a good game. And that's such a pretty song. It's awesome. So yeah, that's the beginner's guide. I think a big question maybe for the person that's watching this or the person that's making stuff in general is you should really consider validation as whether or not that should be the basis of what you're doing your work, because I feel like Davy probably struggles with validation, as we all do to an extent. And sometimes someone uses a medium or creating something as a way of navigating through the world, like Kodo. My theory would be that like this is two versions of Davy trying to coexist within each other, but I feel like multiple interpretations could be correct and that this is kind of open in the airs. Supposedly this is a work of fiction, but I think there's a lot of truth in terms of Davy's life with it. So thank you for taking the time to watch this, especially if you made it to this point. I love you very much. And goodbye now.